This has some spoilers for Amazing Spider-Man number 800. Also, I've never done anything like this before. Something from my heart and my true honest feelings. But I feel I need to do this. I don't normally, but I feel I need to. To me, Flash Thompson was one of my favorite superheroes. I have a tendency to swap around whoever's having an amazing story just because that's how I am. I get excited and hyped about things, and that becomes my 100% focus. But Agent Venom has always remained one of my favorite superheroes in existence. Maybe it's because I'm able to relate with his path myself up to the diverging path of becoming Agent Venom, or maybe it's something else. But I wanted to take a moment to explain who Agent Venom is and what his life entailed. Maybe then you'll understand him and me a little bit better. Let me clarify though. I know that this is a comic. I know that it'll probably eventually return, but I would kind of rather he didn't. This is an amazing finale for his entire character development. Flash Thompson started his life in comics as the bully around Midtown High School. He would bully a young Peter Parker in the early comic books as a way to give Peter a bully and let people relate to Peter Parker. Peter Parker was supposed to be every other nerdy kid. It fell in line with his whole "with great power also comes great responsibility" thing. But when Spider-Man came into existence, Flash looked up to him. He saw Spider-Man as a hero, someone to idolize. As a matter of fact, when he dressed up as Spider-Man, Green Goblin mistook Flash Thompson for the actual superhero, and Flash Thompson ran away from the fight with everyone assuming Spider-Man had run. To redeem his hero's legacy, to make him not appear to be a coward, he put the costume back on and he went out to stop 3 car thieves and show the world that Spider-Man was a hero. He was beaten up here though. Eventually he graduated because back in this day, people in comic books actually aged and they matured and they developed. He went to Empire State University on an athletics scholarship and was classmates with Peter Parker once again. This was when he became friends with Peter after Gwen Stacy made them bury the hatchet. Time went on as it does, and Peter moved on to become a photographer, while Flash Thompson joined the United States military. Comics are weird and wonky, so this is a period in which Flash saved a temple, got married, and then met back up with everyone, but eventually, he decided to rejoin the army for the Iraq War. It was in this battle that he lost his leg saving a battle buddy. His sacrifice earned him the Medal of Honor, and he returned to the States. He went through the stages of grief over losing his legs, but eventually he was given the option to join Project Rebirth as Agent Venom. It was here that his true journey began, working with the heroes that he grew up admiring, learning to work with his new battle buddy, Venom. The two of them became heroes in every sense of the word. Sure, it's a comic, and some stuff in here was a little out there, like him fighting against the forces of hell or going into space with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But in the end, he was Agent Venom, a soldier who was injured saving his battle buddy. He was a soldier given a second chance. He was a soldier able to fight with a new battle buddy once again. He dealt with the misconception that he was a villain due to bonding with Venom, and he fought every day to prove that he was a hero and not some kind of a monster. And in the end, his friends all wanted to believe him. They did, but they always expected him to snap, to become that creature again, to become that monster. He fought this stigma more times than he should have, as many people in the world of comics do. And in the end, he was separated from his battle buddy. A series of events took Venom away from Flash, and he was left wanting to be a hero, but unable to do so. So he sought out his partner again, and he found him eventually. But Venom had already bonded with Eddie Brock, and the two fought over who should be holding the Venom symbiote. Flash was covered in the anti-Venom serum, which turned him into anti-Agent Venom. Still able to do his job, but not able to bond with Venom ever again for fear of injuring it. But he was back to being a hero, and eventually, Spider-Man called on his help. Green Goblin had merged with the Carnage symbiote, and Spider-Man was overwhelmed, calling on all of his friends to aid in this battle. When it all seemed lost, Flash arrived to inform him that he had used the anti-Venom serum to stop all of Red Goblin's plans to kill Peter's loved ones. Angrily, Red Goblin leaped at Flash Thompson, and the anti-Venom suit was weakened, having saved all of Peter's loved ones. Red Goblin then proceeded to burn off all of the anti-Venom and mortally injured Flash Thompson. Peter freaked out, letting his rage take over, and at this time he had bonded with the Venom symbiote, and he let it take over, turning it evil with the intent on killing Red Goblin, but Flash stopped him. He told Peter that Venom was a good guy now, and don't let his rage turn Venom into a villain again. He wanted Venom to remain the hero that they had become together. Then, as Spider-Man tried to give Flash the symbiote back in a half-hearted attempt to save his life, Flash told him not to. Don't even try it. He didn't want to injure his friend Venom. So, he said his goodbyes to Peter Parker, his hero, his friend. He went down a hero with knowledge that Spider-Man was Peter Parker finally, the knowledge that his friend had been his idol this whole time. For me, the reason why I always enjoyed the character of Flash Thompson is that he is what I strove for as a soldier in comic book form. When I joined the US Army back in 2005, I joined with a bunch of people who wanted to fight for the United States in the war on terrorism in Iraq. I didn't join for anything patriotic, I won't lie. I wanted to get a degree and I thought the GI Bill was a great way to do it. But during my journey in the military, I met people of all walks of life. Some people joined the military to make money. Some did it to escape their crappy lives back at home, and some joined to fight for America. Everyone from the smartest individual to the dumbest individuals. Regardless of why you joined the military, you became a soldier. Now this is where the dreams come in. Regardless of your reasoning of being in the military, every soldier has those big dreams. What if I joined the Rangers? What if I joined the Special Forces? Do things like Black Ops and the Bourne Identity even exist? You dream that you'll be so amazing at your job that some guy is going to come down in a black trench coat and ask you to join an elite team of soldiers that will save the world. These are dreams and not the realities for most people, but we all think about it. I don't care if you're the worst soldier ever. We're bombarded with media in the forms of video games, movies, and yes, comic books. That this is a thing, that there are some super elite groups of soldiers out there and I need to join up with them. But for many of us, those dreams are shattered and they remain dreams. During my time in the infantry, I was dumb. I broke my ankle. When I went to go see the doctor about it, he told me that it was a simple sprain and to get back out there and train. Maybe at the time it wasn't broken. Maybe it was a legit sprain then, but the one thing you should never do on a sprained or broken ankle is train. I pushed through the pain. I did train. I wanted to become that elite soldier. I sprained my other ankle, putting all of my weight on it, and the doctor once again told me, "Private Potter, you sprained it. Here's some Ranger candy, also known as ibuprofen 800 milligram, and get back out there. You have a war to train for." And so I did. With 2 heavily sprained or possibly broken ankles, I trained over and over. Sure, I had to recover for periods, and this made running for PT insanely difficult, but I did it. I passed all of the tests, and I got on the deployment. While over there, it was a lot of boring patrols and not much happening, but things did happen in the 15 months that I was deployed. Maybe someday I'll go deeper into what actually happened there, but it really doesn't pertain to this story. Instead, what you need to know is the things that did happen made me want more. I wanted to be that super soldier. I wanted to join up with Special Forces or join up with Rangers or something. Our unit was known as the 216 Rangers, and we were supposedly trained as Rangers, so why couldn't I become one? What could possibly be holding me back? Sure, I was lazy at times, and I was irritated by the simple-minded orders or the time wasted sitting around in training, but I was good at this when I wanted to be. So I went home ready to re-enlist, and I was ready to take my second tour seriously, to rise up in the ranks, to become that Ranger or Special Forces. I wanted to become Solid Snake if I could. Hey, I still enjoyed my video games, but I had that little ankle problem. And before I could re-enlist, I needed to have that looked at officially. Not by some physician's assistant, but by a legit doctor. The pain was immense and it was causing me to fall out of runs and training. And I wanted to get that fixed finally, because if I was going to take this seriously, if I was going to rise to that next level, it was time to fix my problems. And that's when I found out that my ankles weren't actually sprained or just weak. At some point in this training or deployment cycle, I had actually broken both of them. Shards of bone had broken off of both of my ankles and they had gotten lodged between the joints. I was basically dealing with shattered ankles that were barely holding themselves together. There was no hope of me joining anything that was physically intensive like the Rangers or Special Forces. My dreams were dashed, or were they? I decided to switch to the medical field and I joined Preventive Medicine. My new goal was that if I couldn't become an elite soldier, I could possibly aid those elite soldiers. And I wanted to go get a helicopter pilot's license to do that. I went to the schoolhouse and got to my new duty station, and then I got myself the surgery on my ankles. It was there that I worked out of the hospital while I was recovering, but I was getting antsy, like really antsy. A desk job is not for me, but I was in a good position. It was here that I knew that I could study and train to become a warrant officer and follow my current dream. But I got more terrible news. Due to my ankles and my injuries, even if I had passed the schoolhouse, the chances of being selected to become a pilot were slim to none. Basically, I had no chance in hell of completing everything and making this work. I would be stuck as preventive medicine until the day I retired. Well, I was also technically restricted from deploying for what I thought was 18 months, so I decided to re-enlist early to get a choice of duty station and get the hell out of that hospital. I chose to move to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, aiming for a field unit, and I figured I would go back out there and at least not sit at a desk all day. When I got there, though, I met an officer whose entire purpose was to make his career, everyone else be damned. He had it in his head that he was the major, and everyone had to listen to him, no matter what. The unit came down in orders, but they couldn't deploy. I was locking them out of a deployment since they had the exact number of soldiers to deploy, and I was unable to, unless I signed a waiver and told them that I personally felt that I was good enough to go and I would ignore doctor's orders. My dreams had been crushed twice. I didn't know what to do or where to go. I had an incredibly supportive wife, but I was lost. I couldn't be the soldier I wanted to be, so I took the deployment and went over again, only to do so much damage to my ankles over there that I needed a second set of surgeries on both ankles. Once again, stories for another time. I came home, got my surgeries, and was at a crossroads in the military. I was coming up on my 10th year, and I had only made sergeant. Due to being infantry and planning to not remain in the preventive medicine field, I hadn't prioritized getting points aimed to promote myself further. I had done things, but not enough, and the requirement to go higher in the ranks for my job would require me to grind it out hardcore. But my dreams were dead, much like I assumed they were for Flash Thompson when he lost his legs in the Iraq War. So the Army offered me one last thing: take a desk job at a hospital permanently due to my injuries and the misdiagnosis from the military a while ago. I would have plenty of time to work on extra work that would get me my promotion, or give in, return to Fort Couch. And for you non-military individuals, Fort Couch is home. I would get paid a sum of money for the rest of my life through VA, and my journey to become an elite badass soldier would end there. Since I'm making you this video, you can assume which one I took. But that brings me back to Flash Thompson, and I told you that story because I wanted you to know why I liked this superhero so much. In this day and age of comics, every publisher is looking to make new superheroes that relate to a younger demographic and to bring in a more diverse crowd. When I first joined the military, I looked to video games and movies as my idols and heroes that I should strive to be. Yes, I know they have glamorized the versions of the events, and I knew it back then. But it wasn't the idea of becoming Solid Snake. It was the ideology that he stood for. It was the ideology that heroes like Master Chief and Halo stood for. That no matter what, the job had to be done. I felt it was a good goal to aim for, because as the saying goes, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. But as my time in the military grew, my view on it waned. And that's when I discovered Flash Thompson and Agent Venom. Even though he was a comic book character, he was someone that was worth looking up to. You see, I'm 6'1" with tattoos all over, who's been told that I look like I was in the military. I intimidate people all day without even trying, and have been told in my civilian life that people are afraid that I'm going to snap, and they're afraid of the PTSD soldier. I've lost chances at jobs before this whole YouTube thing, and I've had very odd situations at jobs before this whole YouTube thing. Hell, even doing this YouTube thing, if somebody finds out that I was in the military, I get that reaction at times. People here on YouTube didn't know why I dyed my hair purple, and it was actually because of a sub drive over on our Twitch channel, but I discovered an interesting side effect. People seemed far less intimidated by me with it. I was approached by people, and they initiated conversations with me instead of me having to go to them. Flash Thompson losing his ability to be a hero due to injuries was something that I could relate with, and I understood where he was coming from. The option of becoming a hero again with a symbiote, to learn what it means to become a superhero, to not be viewed as an intimidating monster. This is all something that I could relate with. Yes, I know, him becoming Venom and me just getting shunned by people who think I'm going to snap is kind of completely different things, but it's the idea behind it. Sure, this is a comic book set in a fictional world, but it's the idealistic view of how things could end. Maybe, just maybe one day, I'll get to become the hero that Flash gets to be. Maybe my dreams aren't dead. I know they are, but when the hope for something better officially flickers out, what do we live for? To me, this is why I'm okay with the experiment of trying new diverse superheroes. You never know what someone is going to see in that superhero or how they're going to relate to them. It doesn't mean every experiment works, but I feel that this one did. For me, Agent Venom represents the hope that dreams could possibly not die, that you can rise above preconceived notions and become the hero that you are meant to be. Every day for me is a battle with depression. Every day I remember the friends that I've lost, the friends who have moved on. What happened to the dreams of those that we lost? Why are mine worth surviving? I overthink the actions that I did the day before and the words that I said to friends and acquaintances. I overthink what people think of me and if I should care or not. This is every morning for me. I battle it every day. I know how to handle it. I work out. I get some sunlight. I dream of things that could have been. The dreams that I had as a child to become an elite soldier, and I wonder what I lost. Fictional heroes like Agent Venom mean more to me than the average Joe because even though it's a comic book, it represents what can happen. Maybe, just maybe, I'll get a call to use a symbiote one day. Or maybe, just maybe, you at least understand me a little better.